Everyone's heard of MEDBEDS, the futuristic healing technology that sounds like science fiction, but what if I told you the science behind it actually exists? Well, there's peer-reviewed research that's sitting in the National Institute of Health database, published in journals like Nature Medicine, Cancer Medicine, and ACS Nano, examining red light therapy and PEMF studies from the Natural Cancer Institute, UT Austin, and Stanford Medicine. Some with over 5,000 citations, right? 5,000. Integrative oncology centers are already incorporating these findings into their protocols. Now, Jonathan Otto, he spent years compiling this research, and his book, The Cancer Off Switch, was endorsed by Dr. Antonio Jimenez, who's the chief medical officer of the Hope for Cancer treatment centers with over 30 years in integrative oncology. Well, today, Jonathan walks us through the blockbuster studies and explains why what people call medbed technology may already be here. Jonathan, welcome back to the show. Want to get right into it because you've compiled research for major institutions on red light and PEMF therapy. We're blessed to have the devices in our home. You sent them to us. Our family has reaped the rewards. But before we dive into specific studies, tell us about Dr. Antonio Jimenez and why his endorsement of your work it really matters. And I mean, what is Hope for Cancer treatment centers doing with this technology? I remember when my mother had cancer, she sadly passed away from it. It's left a scar on our family. And we were looking for all kinds of technologies and alternative therapies to try to treat her. And there were so many things that were blocking treatments here in the United States due to regulation that, going to Mexico to seek treatment was really just a financial impossibility. And Hope for Cancer Treatment Center was actually one of the places we had looked at. Sadly, it was out of our price range. And, well, we lost my mother as a result of it. So tell us what this means for you with the technology.
Wow, no. Well, firstly, Gary, thank you for sharing that, and I'm truly sorry to hear it. It's the thing I hate most about this work that I do. It's the hardest part, and it's the reason why I do it, though. And may your mother rest in peace. I can't wait to meet her in heaven. These are the hopes that we and the real realities that we look forward to, Gary.
Yeah.
I really believe that with all my heart. I can't wait to get to know your mom, and she's yeah.
It's in those moments when you're reaching for any kind of solution, and then you hit a brick wall. And what's remarkable about what you've been researching and the technology you're providing people is changing lives. And had we only known about this, 8 or 9 years ago, we, may not have to visit a grave on Mother's Day. So that's the real reality here. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm just trying to bring it back to that point.
Yeah,
because it's so important when we're up against those roadblocks, and you guys are removing those roadblocks. So tell me more.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary. Absolutely, yes. So with the Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers, it's a great choice for people when they're in these situations because they use these types of technologies, because they are very much helping lead that conversation. And 20 years ago they were implementing red light therapy, not just last year. And so it is an honor for me that Dr. Tony Jimenez uses my red light, my red light company, for his own personal health, and he's now rolling this out with his patient program to make sure that they don't just have the 3-week treatment, they continue on and they're getting the best results. And so that's a huge honor for me because I know the outcome. And it also is amazing because of what you just mentioned. And Tony has told me that for every 10 people that try to get treated there, about 1 out of the 10 are able to afford it and be able to do it. And that is the most heartbreaking part of his career because they're hand and foot, so you've got so many personnel and staff. It's not typically covered under insurance and all these types of things. So it creates the necessity for affordable at-home solutions to work as both preventative and for remedial care.
I mean, the price tag to go down there, it was sticker shock. I mean, for our family, we said, how do we pay for something like this? And that's just one of the roadblocks right there is the financial, and then of course the regulatory. But that's the miracle you're bringing to the United States here. Is the technology that's now accessible. You don't have to travel far. You can travel to your bedroom or your sitting room, and you can experience the same healing results that my family is already experiencing now because you've blessed us with this technology. So continue. Let's talk about this research itself. The National Cancer Institute been studying photoimmunotherapy since the 2010s. Published in Nature Medicine, over 1,000 citations. What did this research explore, and why was it so significant?
Yeah, absolutely, Gary. Well, what we are finding in these clinical studies on cancer is that light is directly interfacing with how the body is dealing with complications, disease, even detoxification, and it's helping us at a cellular level. And through energy production, we're able to then harness how the body is able to deal with any kind of toxic threat, even if it's another condition. Let's say it's dementia, an autoimmune condition. We're dealing with a fatigue of the body due to a fatigue of the cells. And what is it that they lack? It's energy. And cancer thrives in low voltage environments. Cancer cannot thrive in a body that has high voltage, that has adequate cellular energy. And this is why we put light into the body through a process of simply shining red and near infrared light. This 600 to 1100 nanometer range is what directly interfaces with the mitochondria. Mitochondria are filled with these light receptors called chromophores. Chromophores are light receptors. How fascinating that God made us like this.
Yeah.
And then when they receive this, they cause the mitochondria to produce ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and reactive oxygen species. And both of these will then have these direct interfaces with all types of disease because they're interfacing with how the body produces unique types of oxygen, like singlet oxygen. Singlet oxygen will target and kill cancer, and ATP through energy will then harmonize the body, balance the body, and restore homeostasis.
Wow. That's absolutely fascinating. I want to talk about the 2025 UT Austin study published at ACS Nano. Use LED light with tin nanoflakes. I don't know what that is. Maybe you could help me understand, because the researchers reported quite interesting results with colorectal, skin cancer cells, and lab settings. Walk us through what that study examined and what they used there.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one's interesting, really, because they're activating light, and it's working in combination with substances. Our last session that we talked about methylene blue, and so when Rogan had Mel Gibson on, and he said, "Look, I've had 3 friends." Mel says this. "I've had 3 friends with stage 4 cancer. They were all in remission, and they were doing this thing." And he lists antiparasitics, ivermectin, fenbendazole. Then he says methylene blue, and methylene blue actually has to be activated by red light. And 660 nanometers specifically at the peak is where that it gets absorbed to the highest ability, causes this ability for the oxygen to be created, targets the cancer cells. And so you'll see that it's not an anomaly. And there are many great studies on this. And like this one here is another example of that very aspect here I've got on screen. This one was a very similar result. And you can see it here documented, topic called photodynamic therapy for primary cutaneous B-cell lymphoma, a pilot study. And this was 3 participants. And it's so fascinating here that it says the results are summarized in table 1. All patients underwent complete remission, defined as a clinical and histologic complete remission. And this is the weirdest part about this study, with a maximum of 2 treatment sessions. With a maximum of 2 treatment sessions.
That's unbelievable.
At 1 week intervals. 2 patients, 1 and 2, were in complete remission after 1 week from first and only PDT session. So 2 of them only had 1 session, and then patient 3 underwent complete remission after 1 week from the second PDT session. So this is a specific type of cancer, a specific application. And so
which kind of cancer was this one?
Yeah, it's cutaneous B-cell lymphoma. So it
And
can
what is
be a
that? What does that
terminal
mean? I
cancer.
I, I don't know what that means. Is that
Yeah, lymphomas, like
well? What's
they're
primary cutaneous B cell? Like, what does that mean?
yeah, so related to the B cells, we've got cutaneous, so it's a skin related, and then it's a lymphoma, so it's a blood cancer. These were big in like the Monsanto lawsuits, like for
Oh,
example, the $100 million plus case with Dwayne Johnson, the groundskeeper that got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a different type of lymphoma, but he died. The judge slashed it down to about 70 million. That got left with the sons. But this was an example of glyphosate causing lymphoma, blood cancers. And so you got a dysregulation of the body, a dysfunction of the mitochondria, causing
oh my
these
God.
buildup of cancer in the body. And strangely enough, light interacts with this particular type of cancer really quickly, as you can see in this pilot study.
Because it's cutaneous, meaning it's skin. So
Yeah.
when the light hits the skin, it's because of specific wavelengths interacting with that layer specifically.
Yes, exactly,
Okay.
exactly, and this is why the cutaneous the lymphoma foundation, they're reporting 60 to 80 to 90% efficacy with light therapies for lymphomas across the board, and this pilot study, to me, like, they just did it right. And this is where education like this becomes really important, because you're using AI for your business so that you can get information quickly. You can then aggregate information. Same thing is true in the medical field. So people can be using the information that's available to them so they can access the data from this study. How did they do it? Just ask the question, okay, how many times did they do it? What time in the day did they do it? What did they apply together with that? In this case, they used aminoleuvolinic acid, which is a comparable agent to methylene blue, where it causes the absorption of light into those aspects, and that can be applied topically or internally or both. And so these are the reasons why people are getting such great results, because they're using these therapies the way that they have been in the clinical studies. And just a quick
I
note, go ahead.
I,
Yeah,
I
please.
did want to interject because I know that people are probably curious right now, and if they want to jump in and go to the website, we've got a link down below, and you can insert our promo code and take advantage of the benefits. All the information is down below. Continue, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say before, when we were chatting on and you could maybe make me full screen there, when we were chatting on the book, The Cancer Off Switch, and this is about to be released, or actually, my visual, but and I'll get some red light going here. Not the way to do it, by the way, right? With a bunch of clothes on. Near infrared will actually penetrate through the clothes, and near
Oh,
infrared is the
really?
aspect that you can't see. Yeah, because these are dual lights. You've got near infrared coming out of all of the lights here, so that will actually get through the clothing. So I am actually still getting benefit, but
No
I'm
way.
also trying to be proper and not get us flagged on YouTube by being clothed.
Yeah. We didn't want to have naked Jonathan. We saw naked Jonathan in the last episode, or
Okay,
nearly naked Jonathan.
for the
But
record, it was just shirt off working out, right? But
I know. But okay. So just to clarify, because that's been one of the things I've been curious about, is trying to take advantage of the time that I can to use the device, so I don't have to sit. I can be clothed like with this shirt on and still take in the benefits.
you'll get all the near infrared, which is like, for example, this has got 9 different wavelengths. So you got 810, 830, 850, and 1060. There's 4 different wavelengths in the near infrared. All of those will be picked up, but the red, it's going to it'll get my skin, my hair that's exposed, but it will not get through the clothing. So the 600 nanometers, was 630, 660, 670. Those nanometers will not, in this case, get through. So I will be unclothed for that. But like, I could sit that behind me. I'll have it on a stand, like right next to me, or have a smaller one, like sitting behind me against my back while I'm working. All kinds of things like that. But and to come back to like some of the research, and we want to give like real great knowledge and practical takeaways. This book will be out soon, but it's not so much a promotion for this, but to give you an idea of the cutting edge research that has been here. So what Dr.
Is that
Tony
book on
Jimenez.
that book's on your website or Amazon?
No, unfortunately not, because I'll be releasing it within the next month or so. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. But some of the research here was so groundbreaking. This is what Dr. Tony Jimenez said about it. He said, as chief medical officer for the Hope Cancer Treatment Centers, with over 30 years of experience in integrative oncology, I've witnessed in recent times the alarming surge of aggressive cancers in increasingly younger patients and heartbreaking recurrences in those once declared cancer-free. Jonathan, whom I've known as both a dear friend and esteemed colleague for nearly a decade, has become a beacon of hope in the face of this escalating crisis. His relentless pursuit of truth, from his early days in the Truth About Cancer movement, I was a producer on that, to his current status as a formidable health advocate, is nothing short of inspirational. Jonathan's groundbreaking research and unwavering dedication to those battling cancer and other chronic diseases make this book a potential lifesaver. The cancer off switch isn't just timely. It's a necessary and practical tool in our fight against these pervasive health challenges. For anyone touched by cancer or seeking to prevent it, this book isn't just recommended, it's essential. So that's what he had to say there. And I just want people to understand the power of what we're dealing with here. There's a reason why Dr. Jimenez has had me do trainings with his doctors at both the Cancun and Tijuana clinic. And so what you're listening to when I share this research is cutting edge. It's not one that just lay people are consuming, but a lot of the, in the hundreds of millions of people that I've been reaching over the years, and you can see our view counts on Facebook and other social platforms. Yeah, thank you. There's a high percentage of those that are either health advocates or medical doctors, holistic practitioners, and they value this information deeply. It's working, it's getting results. And so as we continue this, I'm excited for people really taking heart to the power of the knowledge and information, both inside of red light therapy and in other modalities that we'll discuss as well. That people
the point we need to drive home here is that this is not something that's out of reach for people.
Yeah,
is that it's you don't have to go to Tijuana to experience this, and that's why you're here, is to present the results of these studies, but also how people can access and receive those same results in their home. Mm-hmm. And I think we really need to drive that home, because it's all linked below, and that's what's important. Anyway, I'm sorry. I want to continue.
Yeah, I love that.
The PEMF side of it, because we have one of those as well. And there's a landmark 2016 review in cancer medicine with over 5,000 citations examining mechanisms, therapeutic potential. So what did the researchers conclude about how PEMF may affect cellular function? This is really important.
Yes, absolutely. So these studies are giving us the other aspect to how mitochondria function. So with mitochondria, they are responsive to both light and magnetics. And so this is the reason why when you're in nature, you're getting two things at once. You're getting the light, and you're getting, when you're against the earth, through your feet or through your whole body, if you're lying against the ground, you're getting the Earth's magnetic field. And so we're designed for this, and it is interfacing directly with the mitochondria and restoring the magnetic potential of the cells. And this is actually huge because we communicate through magnetics, and this is what causes the signal to continue. Otherwise, the signal would die. And we are electrical beings, and that's why red light is actually electromagnetic as well, but one through light, the other one through a magnetic pulse. And what we see in these studies, the reason why they're effective is they are causing the cancer cells, in this case, to undergo apoptosis through the production of cellular energy, mitochondria producing ATP. So same commonality there. But it's doing it through the magnetic field instead. And so once you restore, it's amazing. So once you restore balance, then you can see tremendous results with this. And so I love
when you combine that with the red light, and you're amplifying it, and that is what people have referred to as actual medbed technology, because it's getting both sides of it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and so there are some great studies showing the combination of those therapies, and they're exceeding what you have with either one alone. And I can show you some of that research here, where you've got the two therapies together. Um, Being able to do what neither therapy can do on their own. And so when you follow nature, you follow, I would say, God's original plan. And so here you see this. By the way, this was the before and after on the cutaneous lymphoma. So that actually shows the images there, and it's got there under table 1 a complete remission in patient with the certain type of cutaneous B cell lymphoma, and again says after a maximum of 2 sessions, there's a complete remission here achieved, which is almost unbelievable. Not one that I'm promising or making claims or anything like that. What we're simply doing is showing you the profound results that are coming as a result of this. So I'll show you here on the PEMF here in a moment. This one here was the combination. So looking at this, this is androgenic alopecia, and so it was a 24-week clinical trial. And when combined, the PEMF prepares the scalp environment. So this was for hair growth. But what you'll find is if a therapy that's helping hair grow is also helping bone density, and then if you're fixing bone health, you're actually fixing the way your body generates stem cells. Do you see how everything is connected? So some of these things aren't just vanity; they're actually to do with how your body demonstrates complete health.
It's getting down right, like for lack of better words, pardon the pun when you're talking about hair, but right to the root of the issue. And when the whole body is working correctly, everything is going to work correctly.
Yep, exactly. So red light, PEMF together. This study, participants using both therapies saw 24% increase in hair density, 4 times more than the control group. Wow. So it's a short period of time, and so 4 times the increase. And it's interesting that's very similar to what we saw in the Lancet Oncology with prostate cancer, specifically with red light therapy. And what was demonstrated here was that you had 49% go into remission in the red light group, and I'll pull this up here. Whereas in the control group that were not taking red light therapy, it was dramatically different. It was 13.5% that go into remission in the control group. So again, that's close to 400%, specifically 360%. And it was a big study, 413 participants, and it was published in the Lancet Oncology. And in the group that had the red light, it was 6% only that went to get surgery, whereas in the non-red light group, 30%. So that was a 500% difference there. And coming back to the other study here that was on the combination of the therapies, and one of the profound things about that is that what we did with our PEMF mats, which you'll see here, is that we combined the red light and pulse electromagnetic field in one. So it allowed then people to do both of those therapies in one single item, right? So then I'll show you this study here. This was on the periarthritis, which showed here, let's see, there's this one. So in patients with frozen shoulder, combined use of pulsed electromagnetic field therapy and infrared laser therapy proved to be the most effective treatment compared to either therapy alone over a 2-month period. All treatment groups experienced less pain, reduced tenderness, better shoulder movement and function, but those receiving the combined therapy showed the greatest and most long-lasting improvement. Researchers observed that the dual approach not only enhanced healing, but also accelerated recovery time, helping patients regain shoulder mobility faster. They concluded that using PEMF and red light together creates a synergistic effect, amplifying pain relief, tissue repair, and range of motion while remaining safe, non-invasive, well tolerated. And that was true for my dad with this issue that he's had with his knees for years. I tried stem cells. I spent about $30,000 on the stem cells. There's a clinical study there. Couldn't get that to work for me in his case. And red light, on the other hand, was miraculous for him, and he's had a tremendous improvement, and he's
one thing we never spoke about before, and I'm kind of going off script here, but is the stones that are in the PEMF mat. We've never really gone into that, and when I was first introduced to the technology, I'm like, oh, this is like some foo-foo new age, wear a crystal and you're gonna feel better. But the further I looked into it, apparently each one of these types of stones has their own benefit that is built into the PEMF mat, which adds literally a whole nother layer. If you could just
Yeah.
kind of delve into that for just a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Look, I like the verse in the Bible that says, "The rocks will cry out," and
Ah,
yeah, it's interesting. And then the other one's interesting. It said, yeah, Cain says, "Well, yeah, am I my brother's keeper?" After killing his brother, and then it says that the ground. It actually said something like the ground. Uh, uh, like cried out. I'll look at the exact words for that. But I'm not saying it talks. I'm saying that it's actually it's a concept around frequency and how frequency will hit the stones and cause the vibration that the body will then carry. And so it's using there, what you have in that mat is amethyst and tourmaline and jade, also sodalite and carnelian.
do you have a
Or,
breakdown of the layers? I think we've seen
yeah,
that
I'll show that.
before.
Yeah,
I've never
absolutely.
asked about it because we should probably illustrate what we're talking about,
Yeah,
because it really is fascinating, the layers that are in the mat itself, and each one has its own specific function.
yeah,
Um, Much like you have the different frequencies in the light, you have different layers in the mat, and each one has its own benefits. So just like run this
yeah,
down real quick because we've never
absolutely.
truly, I think, broke it down.
Absolutely. So you've got 13 different layers. And so you've got the natural gemstones, you've got the photon layer, which is light, and in this case, in red and green and even blue light. They all have specific benefits. I'll show you what that looks like here. That is, I think, right here. Sorry for making you nauseated with that. Okay, so like you'll see that the red is working with inflammation and with cellular energy, getting through to even as deep as the bones, working with mitochondrial function. Blue will actually deal with skin bacteria and modulate as well how we this is it helps us wake up. And uh, because it's a smaller amount as well, it's not an issue at night, so people can do that before bed and it still works really well. But blue light is very corrective for the body, for circadian rhythm, and that's why it's used as a primary treatment for depression, very effective there. And then green light has been heavily studied and proven for its abilities with putting various types of chronic pain into remission. Fascinatingly, I've seen some case studies. I got a red light belt here, but this one was an example where I had a woman with a 9 out of 10 pain score, a DD, and she just used this. This was the belt, right, that she used. She had sciatica, and again, not a claim here, not saying that everyone would get this exact result. This happened for this particular woman. Used this particular tool, and she was able to, which was really just a couple $100. But what she did was reclaimed an income because she went to a 0 out of 10 pain score, and then she had to completely quit her work as a part-time massage therapist, which is a $48,000 a year salary, and that she completely reclaimed and enjoys her life and job now, which is in horrific pain beforehand. But to come back to concluding the point here, so you've got the red light, you've got the thermal layer, the waterproof layer, fireproof cotton layer, overheating protection layer, and so you've got zero actually on a meter, which I've got a meter here. I'm just looking for where I put it. You'll find with both the red light and the PEMF mat, you'll see a 0 reading on EMF, which is great. And what PEMF does, it actually corrects EMF issues better than anything else. So pulsed electromagnetic field interacts with electromagnetic frequency pollution and radiation. So it's helping to correct that better than anything else. And so that gives you a good summary there. And the stones, like I mentioned, which are in these layers, which I'll show a visual image of what that mat looks like. But it's a really big mat, actually. So complete, even if somebody was like largely obese, it would fit them completely. I don't think there's a single person that wouldn't fit from side to side on that. Because it's so wide, you could actually put 2 people there. And so it's got all the PMF pulsing all through it. So those coils are there. And I love some of the studies as well on this, Gary, where in the clinical studies on insomnia, 69.7% go into remission for insomnia during the clinical study using PEMF mat. I love that, right? Because, and think about that. If you improve your sleep, then you've improved the so much of your health. Another blockbuster that I didn't mention before was with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. 2 groups, one with selenium, vitamin D3, and with iron. The other group with those 3 supplements and with the red light. This was published, peer-reviewed, published on PubMed. You don't know how many times greater the red light group was than the non-red light group in terms of their ability to get into thyroid balance and thyroid hormone balance. It was 70 times greater. And then 15 times greater at reducing medication needs. So it was a blockbuster, Gary, in terms of you really are missing out on a lot of the benefits of your supplements if you miss light therapy. If you're doing light therapy and you're not doing PEMF, it balances it completely. And I have seen a lot of cases where people did well on red light, but then all of a sudden they do PEMF in combination. They're saying, "Man,
okay, perfect.
Well,
okay, so let's connect this. Let's connect this now to the MEDBEDS, because you're arguing that the real science behind the concept, it exists.
Yep.
So how does the published research you're presenting relate to what people imagine when they hear MedBed technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, you'll see research like this, right? And tell me whether this looks like MedBed to you, right? So this is purely red light now, and these are the nanometers of wavelengths, and they'll penetrate different depths of the body, and that's why you'll see this here on the chart. These are all the 9 wavelengths that we're using in our devices. The medical grade use like consumer prices, and yet medical grade used by top clinics like what we mentioned before. And the reason why they're leading is because we've got the highest amount of irradiance delivered. Like, so that's the power. That's the most important part. The second most important part is that which is, by the way, over 200 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches. You could even get $150,000 beds from clinics where they're like 50, 70 milliwatts, so like a quarter, a third, and that's common. And yet, so the technology is advanced. We've just used that most advanced technology and we've made it accessible and affordable. But these wavelengths are what then, once they land in these different regions, they'll end up creating that medbed like effect. And so you'll see that the depth of penetration there, near infrared, is going to get deeper, subcutaneous tissue, muscle, bone, interior tissues. But the red is also important because you need to interface with these regions, the dermis, the subcutaneous tissue, muscle. And it was 660, by the way, in a peer-reviewed study that showed that it was able to drop the proliferation of the breast tumor by 40% in 24 hours of human cell lines in a petri dish by using specifically 660 nanometers for both triple negative and non-triple negative breast cancer. So then now you look at all these categories where you see wound healing, injury healing, oral health, stem cell regeneration. Tell me how that does not match what we have been hoping for and understanding with what a MedBed technology does. If it doesn't regenerate stem cells, then it doesn't do anything at all in terms of what it's claiming to do with regeneration. Stem cells are reliant on mitochondria. Mitochondria are light receptors. They have light receptors in them, these chromophores. And so once you're then stimulating them and you have the right wavelength so that you're getting to the areas where they are. So if you don't have it deep enough, if you're not, for example, 1060 is a great wavelength. It's not as common, but it's getting then deeper. It's the deepest level of near infrared, and that's why we use that. That's why we also then go on the other side. The 850 is the most studied and most proven out of all near infrared. But you're interfacing with the body. You're generating stem cells, Parkinson's disease, hypertension, liver function. look at all the benefits and all the different transformations there with the different conditions that people have accepted as maybe part of a thing that they've had to live with: asthma, tinnitus, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, pain relief, athletic performance, post-recovery workout, mental stamina, cognitive performance, pain relief, sun damage, wrinkles, droopy eyelids, under eye circles, broken capillaries. These are things that people care about, and you could say which ones are scoring, which ones haven't yet been proven. Perhaps they would work, but they haven't been proven, so we don't know. But here's what we do know: anti-aging, acne, scars, rosacea, hair growth, weight loss, fat burning, cellulite reduction, metabolism, muscle building, fertility and sperm mobility. That's important for the future generation. And you see more there: depression, anxiety, and then the different types of cancer: lung cancer, breast cancer, stomach cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer. And somebody will say, well, I don't have breast cancer, so I don't have prostate cancer. But look, do you have breasts? Do you have a prostate? So therefore, like, what you're doing is you're interfacing with this region of the body where there's abnormality that could happen, and you're working at, and I'm not going to make a claim around this, but logically thinking about this, you'll think about if this is proven to work with that condition once it's progressed, and even at late stage, then how effective could this be for me here and now?
Why wait? This? Why wait for a doctor to give you a diagnosis? I mean, I think if you're proactive, if you're doing this every day, like our family's doing, I mean, do you really want to be sitting in the doctor's room and they're going to be like, hey, by the way, Gary, you got 6 months. It's like, wait a second. This is all just getting thrown on me. Well, it took a lot longer to get to the point where you're finally showing these terminal symptoms that you have 6 months to live. Yeah. So if you can get ahead of it all, and you can energize all the mitochondria, you can get all these benefits from these devices, and actually, take advantage of what the results of these studies are showing. Why wait? Why wait?
Yeah, so true, Gary. And that's me showing the PEMF mat. Like, I think that
you're filming off
you can hear me there.
Set.
Yeah, I can hear you. What is this?
Yeah. Oh, this was me on a set, and I was just pulling out the PEMF mat on the show. But so, like I was saying, I'm not exaggerating there. And then I'm putting a magnet on the device, putting it on a frequency. So you should use Google and ChatGPT to work out, okay, I've got anxiety, what's the best frequency for anxiety? And then 16 is the number. So then you go, okay, I'm going to put it on 16. Or for sleep, it's between 1 and 4. And so then you put it on the function, and then you get on the mat, and I'm going to put a magnet on there in a second, and then that magnet, you'll see it bouncing around. But anyway, I just wanted to show that real time because people kind of might be curious on what that actually looks like.
No, I'm glad you brought this. I'm glad you brought this video today.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Because then I've got this red light behind me here, and so people can see what this looks like visibly. And like, this is a cast iron device. It's heavy. Can you hear that rattling? And you see that magnet bouncing around?
Look at that.
So you can see
yeah.
interfacing with the magnets.
So
look at that.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get
wow.
Doing the therapy.
And then now I'm interfacing with my magnetic potential in my body, making my body react. It's like think about it. Like, this is the best way to think about it. Like jumper cables for the mitochondria. So jumper cables, like, okay, this guy is not showing a pulse. We got to try to see if we can bring him back. And then whack, boom, whack, boom. And then we're trying to get this guy back. And I had something. This one is I was texting here with Tim Tebow, where I've been doing a lot with him with fighting human trafficking, and I was pulling up this case here where I was with this guy. Let me see. I guess I probably can't carry this over, but just a couple of days ago, I was with a friend with motor neurons disease. It's actually I'll put it here on the screen. This poor guy, the guy can only move. For a time there, he could just move his eyes, but now nothing. The guy can't move a single aspect of his body. Could you imagine what it would be like to go through this? And so I had a pulsed electromagnetic field mat under him, and I had the red light over him in his eyes, and I don't know if you could see that there. I I was yeah, that's him. So my wife and I are there. There's like one of my best friends there, Lossie. I just pulled this up here. There he is. Like you could see this guy. He's motor neurons disease is devastating. There's no hope for people with this condition. But it was fascinating. I'm not going to make any claims, and by God's grace, we're going to see a turnaround in him. I don't know, but I was just, he could hear us. He knows everything that's going on. I was just saying, Mitch, we're not giving up on you, man. Like we're sitting outside, and then and I can, for me, I'm just hearing this sound like and it's like he's breathing through their oxygen machine. And Lossie, she's sitting outside. She says, "I can never hear him for this far away. This is the loudest I've heard him by far." And he's talking. He's trying to talk. That's the sound. It takes him like time to even be able to get that sound out, like 30 minutes from the time that he's trying to the time that it does. And there was two, and she immediately said, I think that what you're doing, it's responding. My first thought was simply that he was just saying to us, hey, look, I know you're here and you're working with me. Please don't give up on me, like help. And anyway, it just really touches me, and I just hate that people go through these things, man. It's horrible.
Well, I mean, with the studies you're presenting and, this experience you had, I mean, I'm just looking at the picture and I'm seeing like a severe condition in people outside. I mean, just what logistically it would take to bring someone outside like that. And like we don't want that. We don't want that for anyone we love. And the fact that, you're willing to, help this friend of yours in this capacity, and then you're seeing results instantly. I think it's, sure, maybe it could be anecdotal to an extent, but just keep at it. But that's the point you don't want to get to. That's the point. Exactly. You don't want to. It's too late, for some people, and that's why it's important to be proactive and take advantage of what tools we have, what God has given us, to understand how the frequencies interact with the body, and then, acquire these tools. Yeah, and that's what you do, and that's what your website at the link will provide.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Gary. I really do believe that, and I don't say that to kind of push people in a direction that they shouldn't go in. I know the reality. I'm just there too often, and I'm too often in situations where it's like, I wish we had known about this earlier. I wish we had this opportunity. And there's people watching this that if you're watching this and you're putting off things with your health and just feeling like, well, you're just dealing with the thing that's in front of you instead of what is coming. And what does it mean to be a human today? It means that you have a 50% risk of getting cancer in your life if you're a male, 30%, 1 in 3 if you're a female. That's way too high. And that's what 1 in 3 seniors are dying of dementia. And the reason why the reason why there's not more people dying of dementia is because they die of cancer before they can get to an age where they would die of the dementia. So we have horrific things going on right now, and what are you doing to get ahead of that? And how much are your organs worth to you? Your organs, all your organs are filled with mitochondria, especially your brain. So what I was doing, for example, for him, it was opening his eyes. He can't open his eyelids. It's deadpan stare, and he could see us, but he just can't move anything. And so I have to get right in his eyesight, and then here's Lossie. I mean, they got together, months before this went completely downhill, and then she just stayed by his side. And this woman is an angel, and that's why, me volunteering my time, giving the things that I have for her. I say, you run out of money when you're in these situations, and so doing everything I can as a friend for one of my best friends. She was I was going to make her one of my groomsmen, by the way, but my wife didn't want that because that's not what you do to a girl. And so she went to my wife's bridal party. But these are the things that you end up in these situations. in life, and you don't know what's coming, and you're relying on your organs. And I was mentioning your organs are filled with mitochondria. Your brain is filled with mitochondria. That's why I had his eyes open. It was putting the red light straight in there. That's why the UCL University found that if they open the eyes for 3 minutes in the morning, immediately it was 17% improvement in eyesight. I mean, I nearly stepped on this tiny little turtle that was about that big yesterday, my son's birthday at the reptile park. If I didn't have really good eyesight, I would have stepped on that little turtle and traumatized all the children, right? So you don't really think about, like, my eyes are worth that much to me. If I knew that I could get 17% improvement in eyesight immediately, why wouldn't I do that therapy? Why wouldn't I even get like a red light belt and look into that for 3 minutes, just like that, right? Why wouldn't I do that for 3 minutes in the morning? By the way, it was in the afternoon, there was no benefit. Or, getting in front of the panel, getting your eyes open, getting in front of that, and protecting your health and getting ahead of that, getting that in front of all your organs. Like, how much are your kidneys worth to you, your liver, your heart? They're filled with mitochondria. They have light receptors. Yes, go out into the sun, you'll get a lot of benefit. The reason why we're seeing a difference is because if you look at the irradiance, like when the sun is setting, when the sun is rising, that is the most therapeutic part of the sun. It's when the sun is the weakest as well. So that's why you've got about up to 40 times the strength of the sun in what you're seeing here. 40 times, and you can measure that on irradiance with a meter. It's a simple equation, a simple process. So what are you doing for your body? How do you and the PEMF is about 1 million times the amplitude of the Earth's magnetics. That's why you put a magnet on the Earth, it won't do that. Whereas you see that, and let's get started. Let's get into action.
Yeah. So the devices that you have combine the red light with a PEMF and far infrared heat. According to the research you have compiled, what is the theoretical basis for combining these modalities together then? Because we talked about the layering, but what is the combination effect, the synergistic effect of all these pieces?
Yeah. So like sauna, for example, sauna using far infrared heat, amazingly associated with 63% reduction in sudden cardiac death. That's how my granddad died, with sudden cardiac arrest. And these are things that really matter. So far infrared is a heat-based therapy. So think sauna. And what you're doing is, so you're getting the benefits of sauna, you're getting the benefits of red light, and you're getting the benefits of PEMF, pulse electromagnetic field, all in one. And that's why we're finding the results to be so profound when used in combination. That, by the way, was looking at there's the synergistic aspect here. So your primary mechanism here, you're stimulating mitochondrial activity through PBM, photobiomodulation, producing ATP. Your PEMF restoring cell membrane potential, improving ion exchange via electromagnetic pulses. So both working at a cellular level, both working at two different angles. It's like you're hitting the target from two different areas. Both are working with nitric oxide uptake, and improving blood flow. This PEMF is improving microcirculation and oxygen uptake, inflammation reduction. You've got here normalizing inflammatory signals, calming overactive immune responses, pain relief. So both are working in these categories, and that's why when you see the studies side by side, you say, "Wow, this one works for this condition. Oh, yeah, PEMF works for it. Red light works for it. Fascinating." But they're both tackling it from a different angle. There's some more studies on the infrared heat. This was even just with knee pain. 86 patients here. And then you'll see here, it significantly reduced pain from the 10th session onwards, and lasting improvements noted at a 1-month follow-up. So they remain active. And then what we've found with the fibromyalgia studies on red light and PEMF, they continue even after they stop the treatment for 3 months, 6 months. And it's really very profound. Not like a Band-Aid approach, but instead something that is working. This one, it was showing the magnetic field here. So we're using a 150 millitesla magnetic field strength, and this is showing that human cells, when put with 80 and 150 millitesla, the human stem cells continue to grow and thrive over time. And then at 150 especially, you've got vascular endothelial growth factor and bone building proteins. You're creating new blood vessels, essential for tissue repair and recovery. So that's the big kind of breakdown there, and how that works. That 1 to 30 hertz range is mimicking the Earth's magnetic field, And so here you see the pain relief continued for up to 6 months without any side effects. And this was for early stage knee osteoarthritis, specifically with PEMF, and big pain drops with that. So really, really great. Sorry, I got yeah. Can you hear that in the background, my boys?
Hey, that's life, man. That's life. That's what makes everything exciting. It's our
Yeah, thanks,
children
man.
we want to be around for them. That's that's why
That's
you're
good.
doing this. You're extending people's lives, and you're making people healthy again. And you're taking the technology that, taking what we know about God's creation, the natural environment, and then you're harnessing those same tools into devices that can actually be placed in someone's home. I want to bring it back full circle to where we started, because people can't always go to these big clinics and spend tens of thousands of dollars for these therapies when they can have these devices in their home. Like we have the devices. My device literally sits right next to my bed, along with my methylene blue on my nightstand. So these are things that I have literally within reach as soon as I get out of bed in the morning. I hit the red light for 10 minutes and it's done. I've done my work for the day. And it's 10 minutes of red light therapy a day, which in reality, I'm probably under there for more like 30. But that's really all it takes to achieve some of these results. And some of these people, as you said before, are only doing it, a couple times a week for just a few minutes. So when I think about the benefits I'm already receiving at 10 minutes a day, I can only imagine the quantifying benefit. So I want to ask you, because for the people who are watching and they want to explore this research, and they want to learn about these devices, where should they go and what should they know when they get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, yeah, well said. And yes, it is such a small time commitment, and people should not even think about it taking any time, right? So we these can be portable, so you can walk around with this. So don't even make the argument to your own self to trick yourself that
That's a
you
good
don't.
point.
Yeah, you're right. And then anyone that's working on a computer who isn't, everyone is. Why aren't you, sitting there with this? Everyone's watching something, whether it's entertainment, Netflix, whatever. Why aren't you sitting there with red light on you at the same time? You don't have to be listening to Enya. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know if I can understand the words. I think I grew up with that.
No, I know what you mean. No, it's like you don't have to be in this Zen spa environment to reap the benefits and get into your zone or whatever.
Yeah.
You could be actively doing the things you do. Because when I'm under mine, I'm still working. I'm on my phone. I'm going through messages. I'm checking scripts. I'm watching news feeds. I'm checking things. So it's not like I'm, sitting there in this, position where I'm, immobile. I'm actually, enjoying it. It's actually, what's nice about it is it does provide the warmth. It's almost like a blanket in a sense, because I am in my birthday suit when I'm wearing this, or when I'm putting the light on me. And it feels great. Like you really don't want to get out from under it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. So that's really cool. And yeah, so should people be on their phones with it? Yes. The reason why is because it's actually going to help offset that. Like PEMF especially is going to basically drop the signal out of it. So that's why grounding works. Like if you're grounded and you're on the phone, it's like kind of wiping that EMF exposure. So it's arguably that's the best thing to do anyway. But to not be a purist is actually how people get results. And so one of the biggest things, what are the trends I see in people that get better and the people that don't? People that never get better, they're complete perfectionists. It's never enough, right? It's always got to be more and more perfect. They need every possible answer and combination. But in reality, what do you need to do? Just like try it. And then it's the reason why we got like 92-year-old Joanne Nita, her carer, comes and puts this red light over her eyes and then over her feet, and she could like now read the television like the same day she could read the print, and it was just blurry images up until that point. It's kind of fascinating to see these things. And so she didn't have all the answers. What she did have was she just tried it. And that's why I want to encourage people. And she had complete restoration of peripheral vision loss, which it was connected to macular degeneration. And then her nerve pain went away. Like, we see these things in elderly people and in young people. And so, to answer your question, Gary, the simplest thing to do is to get this resource, to start somewhere. And at myredlight.com, it's simple. So you just go to myredlight.com and then look at what we have there and choose what best suits your needs. Like, you could see like a panel like this, and you can see how big this is. This is the 300 Pro Max. And so this is going to cover all your organs. And when I look at like the long COVID study from the European Society of Medicine, it was 100% success for all 62 people using whole organ photobiomodulation. So that's the benefit of why it's good to get in something. It's total restoration of executive function, memory recall, digestive issues resolved, oxygen above 97%. And so getting something that gets over all your organs, great investment. I could tell you why, like getting a panel like this, or this is the 200, and so you can see the size of that. So little narrower, little shorter, but it's actually going to still cover almost all my organs, right? Because that's head to groin is where your organs are. So and like they end up becoming the most affordable therapy, the pulse electromagnetic field therapy that combines all three in one. If somebody wants to just start there, or somebody wants to just start with a red light, someone who just wants to start with a belt, it allows you to get started. And that's the reason why we've also got a 60-day money back guarantee. Try it for 60 days, use it, get the benefits, see whether it's everything that we said it was. And then the reason why it becomes the most cost-effective therapy that you could do today is because, unlike supplements, you're reordering them. Unlike a chiropractic treatment, your massage, it's a continual cost. Whereas in this case, it ends up costing, like, over the course of several years, it'll go from like, down to under $1 a session. Because think about it, do the math on, 365 days in a year. Over like 3 years, for example, like now it's just cost you $1 a session for like, $1,000 device. And so this is a simple like equation. If people think like this, and it's part of the reason why we made sure to have payment plans there to make it accessible to everyone. And then, you do the math on a single supplement. I've got a family of 4. So if we are all taking that one $50 supplement, I'm up at $600 for the year on that supplement. And then, a family of 4, we're up at $2,400 just for one supplement that really can't do, like, you look back at the charts and all the different areas. That's what, and now for the next 10 years, that's $24,000. And then you think, oh, this is the cheap option. And then you look at the study showing 70 times greater the result at achieving thyroid hormone balance when vitamin D, selenium, and red light were combined, iron as well in that particular study. And people can look up all the keywords, fact check me on everything. So it's a major way to reclaim your health. And then these are designed to last a lifetime. 50,000 rated lifespan hours, 0 EMFs coming out of them. 50,000 rated lifespan hours means a whole family could use this for a lifetime, like 80 years. That's at 30 minutes a day per person. Like, do the math on it. These are the ways that people are going to get ahead of the system. You'll be paying about $100 a session at a clinic, and then you can't do it at the times you want to. If you want to get real optimal, do it at sunrise and sunset, like as close to those times as possible, and do 15 minutes either side there, and you'll see the miracles that it does for your health, because you're replicating biology. You can't do that at a clinic. You can't do it because the clinic's not open when the sun rises. The clinic's not open when the sun is setting, or before you go to bed. So same with PEMF. You could actually sleep on it. You could sleep on it through the night. These are really cool hacks that mean that your home becomes a healing oasis. Like, how do you make your own home like A-list clinic like the Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers and get ahead of this and, do this for your family. Protect your organs. I wouldn't sell a single organ of my body, Gary. I wouldn't sell it. I'd give it, right, to my children. But these are the things that you wouldn't trade it. So, but what are you doing, right? What are you doing for your organs? What are you doing for the mitochondria? What are you doing to save give your body what it's asking, begging for? And it's simple. It feels great. It's not painful. God's ways are always the best ways. You look at Garden of Eden, translates Garden of Pleasure, and so you realize that it's not Garden of Pain. Why are all these therapies that we're getting sold painful, expensive, harmful? What pleasure? What's God's way? Pleasurable, cost effective, even free. And that's why He gives us the sunlight. People are sitting indoors and missing God's gifts every day. They're not grounding. They're not getting out in the sun. Go get God's gifts today, regardless of whatever you do with this. You want therapeutic results. You're trying to turn around a condition. From my experience, you do need to activate this. You do need tools that will work for you, and that's why we're providing this. And it's such an honor to be providing these tools along by your side, and I'm excited to see these results. And remember as well, people can get masks for the face and hats for the hair, a lot cheaper than getting a hair transplant, and way more effective. And like,
and there are links in the description down below, promo codes to take full advantage of them. This is exclusive for Next News viewers only. So make sure you use that so you can take advantage of it. Jonathan, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And I can't wait for your book to go public. You've shown it to me so many times. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's not even public yet? Well, I'm expecting a signed copy in the mail as soon as you have one. So I know my wife and I and our family will cherish that. So, but thank you, Jonathan. We look forward to having you back. We appreciate your support of this program. But most importantly, we appreciate you being able to present this information for our viewers so that they can reap the benefits.
Oh, thank you so much, Gary. What an honor. And thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your belief. And let's all get better together, guys. And let's take care of our loved ones. Just think about who you love and care about that needs to see this interview to get hope, and that to take matters into their own hands. Send this to them, please. Like, take a moment right now and send this to a loved one. Give them hope. They deserve it. And if you know this and they don't, you actually have a responsibility. And whether that's this content that I just shared or somebody somewhere else that makes sense, that they can follow, that will give them hope and give them actual information. And at myredlight.com, there's a 3-hour training there. It's free. Like, just watch that and it will teach you and teach you how to use these tools, go into the studies. And that's why we also do follow up. Like, I don't know any other red light company that's doing that, right? That's actually helping people with how to use it and how to get results and teaching photodynamic therapy. I just know of people selling, but not actually seeing people through. Our mission is different. That's why we've been releasing content for free to the public for over a decade now. And I just want people to get better. And so that's why we're providing that to people. And that's why we've got the best results I've seen. And that's why we've got top clinics trusting us. While people can remember this as well, the code to get 25% and 30% off single items or like the smaller bundles, it's 25, and it says it on the page. So NNN for Next News Network, 25. And for the bundles of the bigger packages, NNN 30, Next News Network 30. But just NNN 30, massive discounts there, guys. And so they're only available for a limited time. So I take advantage of that while it's available before we close those special offerings and all the discounts and gifts and other gifts that we're giving, bonuses in the packages. And you can see those, like a free stand, a free supplement package, the information, the documentary series, all that life-saving content that is being attributed for really thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of transformations worldwide. So check all that out. We're giving that away, even with the small packages, like with the belts and things like that. And so use that information, get into your membership area, use the information, use it to get better, activate those discounts while they're available, grab it for the new year, make 2026 the best ever. Come over here. Say hi, Asha. Say hi. That's Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hi. How are you?
Asher.
Hi, how are you, Asher?
Asher, nice to meet you. I think last time I saw you, you were wearing a skull pirate mask.
Was that you?
Yeah,
that was you. Remember
yeah,
that?
Yeah. I think you had a couple pirates. It was right around, I think, Halloween, and you
Oh, no,
guys
no, no.
were,
Yeah, they don't
if I
celebrate
recall.
Halloween. Do you celebrate Halloween?
No.
No. But that's fine though. Don't worry. But you just had it because you loved it because you went to like a pirate museum or something. Yeah. That's awesome. So was it your
Oh,
birthday
good.
yesterday?
Yeah. Halloween is not really something to be celebrated at all, of course.
Yeah,
So
I know, right?
I commend you guys for taking that position because most people don't. But we do have to run, and I
Thanks,
just want to
brother.
again thank you, and just tell everyone, just don't wait. Your life's too precious. The ones that are counting on us are too important that we need to make sure our health's in order. And Jonathan and his website, myredlight.com, is right there for us. So take advantage. So, Patriots, what you have just heard is peer-reviewed research from the National Cancer Institute, UT Austin, Stanford Medicine, published in journals like Nature Medicine and Cancer Medicine, studies with the thousands of citations that most people have never even seen. Integrative oncology centers are already exploring these approaches. Dr. Antonio Jimenez, with 30 years of experience, has endorsed Jonathan's research. And I only wish that I had known about this sooner because I would have incorporated this into my mother's own cancer therapy. I mean, like I said, we researched his center. It was out of reach for us. But what's now in reach for you is the same technology that he's using. So don't wait until your loved ones don't have an opportunity to reap the benefits of a restorative health session for whatever is ailing them, whatever is plaguing them, because you might regret it. I know I wish I had met Jonathan sooner in my life. But listen, we could talk about that all day. I get emotional when I think about my mother. But, it's this MedBed technology. It's not science fiction. It's right here. It's called red light therapy and PEMF. And it's not about miracle cures. This is about understanding what the science actually says. Remember, always consult with your healthcare provider. Do your own research. The studies are publicly available. And if you want to learn more about the devices, visit myredlight.com, code NNN30, or mypemfmat.com, code NNN25. And then you can take advantage of it all. So all the links are in the description. Take advantage. And when, you know what, do me a favor. When you get the product, drop a link or drop a comment below. You can use this video as a repository so we can all share our experience and we can grow together. So we'll see you at the next report. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.